Thursday, and it's not another debut from the New York based HHPH, but let's find out what the latest tactics are in the area coming right up. Good morning, and it is Thursday once again. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I thank you guys so much for joining me on this 11th hour sunrise. And as you can tell by the current thumbnail, that it is entitled Sunrise Surprise. So if you are out there, I want to thank you so much for choosing Black Spring with Autumn. And if you're out there, you're not sure whether or not you're coming in, I want to thank you guys for considering coming in to Black Spring with Autumn on your Thursday. So if you're out there, I hope you're doing well as always. And of course, I'm going to start out with, of course, giving thanks to our loyal patrons. And of course, we'll have Twitch honor roll. We'll have Twitch honor roll throughout the stream as usual, and we'll get into a few things. So we'll get into a few things, but I always try to give a what I call a what I'm calling a disclaimer. It may feel like Groundhog's Day around here, but some of these things are just some of the things that are out there. They just kind of come in a loop, and we end up in the same place again, or where have we seen this before? So we'll get started with thanks to our patrons, and we'll be right back. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, or music, there's something for everyone. So please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Joseph Francis Burton, Paralysis by Analysis, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back, right after this. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for your patience. It looks like we're dealing with a little bit of, I guess, lag, for the lack of a better word, on your Thursday. But yes, we do have, it looks like I'm going to give you a brief on what we're going to deal with on this sunrise surprise. So we have a mocktail candidate, looks like, that may get a boost. And you'll find out which one coming up in this stream. Also, we are going to be dealing with, well, I want to assert something on this show in terms of what I think a commodity is, or even a new, it's not a new commodity, but I think we're dealing with a couple of commodities that are used, and we've talked about that before. We've talked about children and the quote from the UN that mentions children being the agents of change. And I don't think that's the only commodity that's out there. And I'm not saying it's in that order, but I do think that Black women and the children are a part of this, as are a part of the agents of change. Yes. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. So also we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of the Twitch honor roll before we get into these things. And yeah, we'll be right back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this sunrise surprise with Black Spring with Autumn. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And looks like we're dealing with some outrageous lags and those kinds of things. So, this is feeling more like a test, but I appreciate you guys for your patience. And we're going to just keep moving through here. And of course, I'm dealing with those things on the other side here, but we'll get it done. But before we do that, I just want to say thank you guys once again for tuning into this segment of Sunrise Surprise, rather. All right. So, with that said, I'm going to tell you where we're going to go first. Now, we've talked about this before, and I've kind of covered this in earlier live streams and earlier videos. So I always encourage you, if you're interested in some of these things, or if you're looking for more landscape or background information, you can go into the archives at any time. But for starters, I've mentioned that the kids, for one, I think are a new commodity in this populist society that's emerging right about now. And only not only that, but just the tone. It just seems like we've turned into it culturally. I see that these are my own assertions. This is a bit of an opening statement before I start on this. Is that we're turning into a bit of a this is we're turning into, and I'm making up words, and then just go ahead and warn you, we're becoming the most fightingest nation. And when I say that we're the most fightingest nation, that's a made up word. We're the most fightingest nation amongst each other. We are fighting amongst ourselves. We are fighting amongst genders. We're fighting amongst races. We're fighting amongst disability. We're fighting amongst innocence. We're fighting amongst youth. We're fighting. And I'm getting a little tongue tied on the double consonants there. But but to me, you know what the spirit of this reminds me of? It reminds me of, and this is no offense. I know I have some friends and some subscribers that are of this area, but it reminds me of, it's, to me, there seems to be a very, I don't want to say, it's a very liberal fighting spirit. And it's a spirit that I have associated with, and I have had friends of mine associated with. It's kind of a New York fighting spirit. Like it's a cultural, it's an underlying fight. And and it's nonstop. I think that, maybe, for instance, I think many New Yorkers that are of the, if you want to go with the left right paradigm, shout out to TDOA, that maybe they're not having any issues at all with this. Because to me, from my observation, from what I can see, I think that this type of fighting for identity and for this power struggle, it's something that I've seen go on all like regularly. I've seen it go on, and I've witnessed it. I've witnessed the struggle in different settings, professional settings. I think it's real. And I think there's a consensus. I think that if, I think that there was a poll or any kind of a study that what we've seen or what we've witnessed in many professional settings, when you talk about clients and just our interactions, we tend to have a lot of what I consider we call it the New York cray. And it's thick. You really have to cap it, or it just kind of goes out of control. But I'm saying it looks like the country, the nation is taking on. It's spreading. It spreads. And what's the song War? What is it good for? And it just seems like we're dealing with all these little miniature conflicts and these miniature power struggles amongst people. And I will say that I think the nihilist, the founders of the Frankfurt schools, the sociology departments, I guess they could take a bow. They have fulfilled their legacy. They have successfully made America miserable. And they are successfully doing that through the institutions. They're doing it through the education systems. They're doing it through they've even passed it on. I think they passed it on a long time ago. They brought the message into the churches. So there again, it's a strong force, and a lot of powerful forces behind it. But I think if they can spread this cancer, or if they can spread this discontent amongst America, then I think that will be, these are paths to destruction. These are paths to division. And the more division, unfortunately, I think the more destruction that's going to be out there. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. And this is a bit of my opening statement. And I'm trying not to be too stressful on the with the technology right now. Who would we be around here? So with that said, I'm probably going to put the camera off again. It looks like I'm frozen again. So I don't know, but I think it's probably more ISP, but it is what it is. It's not always not. So we're going to keep going here. So I don't want it to be, but it looks like, misery is American as apple pie. Is that what it is? If you don't have any misery, you go borrow somebody else's. And if you don't, see if they'll let you borrow it. I don't know. You gotta be miserable with your own group, right? And this is Nickerson Marseille. Hi, Nickerson Marseille. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And so we're going to keep going here, and I'm going to tell you what I have for you. First, we have, as we're talking about agents of change. Hi, Marcy T. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. And I thank you guys for your patience. But I have a clip for you. Now, this to me was absolutely outrageous and stunning, and all of the reactions that you can think of. But I never thought I would hear the words, "We need you," Cuomo, coming out of New York. But you could probably guess, I'm not going to tell you where it's coming from or who it's coming from. I'm going to show you where it's coming from. And I want to say hi to everyone that's in the chat. And I know this is unusual. And the goal here was to, Nickerson, you might want to check with the community tab. This is not the Grow Stream. If you're interested, you're welcome to stay. But I would advise you to check the community tab for the community standards. This is not a Grow Stream. And please check that out for the best experience around here. We do covert networking around here, but we don't do, this is not a Grow Party or Grow Stream, Grow Gala, Grow Ball. Yeah, not this show. Thank you so much for coming in. And so as I was saying, it looks like we have a We Need You call coming out of New York. So I thought I would share that with you guys first, and then we'll keep going because, as I said, we just keep spinning back into some of these cultural things, some of the kind of postmodernist, um, postmodernist, this whole populist, you know, as they, for the people that are, comfortably uninformed or happily uninformed, those that, oh, for the people. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go with the call for We Need You. We Need You, Cuomo. So we're going to go with that. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. We need you to continue going with this vaccine. We need you going with this vaccine. COVID has devastated the state. Long Island continues to be the hardest hit, especially for our Black and brown New Yorkers. We must take the vaccine. Now, I'm going to tell you a personal story, off script. So today, right after this, I am going to have an infusion. And I'm going to have an infusion because I want to make sure that the cancer that was in my body does not return. I'm not asking what's in the infusion. I'm not looking up all of the ingredients in the infusion. I am sticking out my arm and I am taking the infusion. And that's what we. All right, guys, I want to thank you guys as always so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And I have Marcy T in the house. Marcy T says, WTF. Well, yes. Yes, it's what kind of a day are you dealing with when you need, Governor Cuomo, right? Yeah. Well, it's not just, it's like, it's almost, they're using the Black woman to, this is the new weapon, the newest weapon. Okay, we had, what did I say? I counted them, five. We had five videos coming out of the New York based HHPH. That's a hip hop public health organization. And of course, that was sponsored. You had your Columbia University hands on the plow with that one. And now you have this councilwoman, Tracy A. Edwards, coming out with, she's back. Guess who was standing behind her? Cuomo himself. And then guess who was standing behind him? So what you had the Black ministers, Black preachers standing behind him. Yeah, of course. And not only that, what do you have? A Cuomo sandwich for promoting mocktails. So if that's not killing you, I also we have an entire transcript, that actually goes with that piece. And it's outrageous what's his statements and his presentation on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share that with you guys. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. You guys are appreciated at all times. So what I'm going to do is I want to share that particular, I want to share some of the transcript and some of the things that he was actually saying, because I do think it's more than staggering that all of these people are injecting themselves into the Black community like never before. I mean, this is intense, right? I don't know any other groups in this populist society that they're going after like this. I don't know any. You see, you hit black and brown, but mostly, you see more Black people out here that are, on the fronts of this thing. So, but without further ado, I'm going to take you a little bit into, we're just going to scan a little bit, but there were some things that I saw specifically that were a part of his transcript is what I'm going to open up to you. I'm going to read some comments before I get into that. Thank you so much, Marcy T. I appreciate it. Marcy T says propaganda galore. And she says, that is so sick. And thank you so much, Marcy T. I appreciate your support around here. And Marcy T says, just the old people. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share with you some of this transcript, the things that he was saying. And yeah, but you're getting no pushback. Where's the pushback? Where's the pushback? And some people might say, oh, what are you doing? Well, I'm doing what I'm doing. That you had to ask shows that I'm doing something. Okay. All right. So according to this is from the rev.com. Isn't that ironic? Rev.com. This is New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, the CV19 press conference transcript from March 15th. So this is that same event. And what I want to do, we're going to scan really quickly, but in the scan, I'm going to introduce this from the transcript, and then there's some pieces that I want to go in here too. So we've got the liberal think tank, the liberals, going into the church is heavily infused in here. I don't know. I'm digging that word infused right now for some reason. I don't know. I think it's appropriate. So I'm going to give you guys some full screen on this. Okay. So here we go. Let's do this. Okay. So here we go. This is from Governor Cuomo after he gets, introduced and the crowd goes wild, right? He says, I want to thank Timothy Sams very much, the new president, for all his help today. Reverend Calvin Butts was here for many years. He leaves big shoes, but we're sure President Sams is going to step up. I don't want to thank him for I don't want to thank him for his hospitality. We have our great health commissioner, Dr. Howard Zucker, you'll hear from in a moment. We have Tracy Edwards, that was our speaker that I presented earlier, who's the president of the Long Island NAACP. We have Bishop Lionel Harvey, Bishop of the First Baptist Cathedral of Westbury. We have Christian Jargon, who was the president and CEO of Discover Long Island, which is great work here on Long Island. Michael Dowling, the CEO of Northwell Health. And Northwell has just been phenomenal, not just on Long Island. Let's give Northwell a round of applause, what they've done. Okay, so there, as you can see, we've kind of, we're piled on with these reverends, and we've got the NAACP, and I'm just telling you guys, can you imagine? Is this the same kinds of things that were going on in the civil rights movement? Is this the same kind of propaganda that was used? I'm just saying, just making an observation here. You've got all these reverends and all of these people influencing the community, they're using their credos. They've got to use the black skin, they've got to use the black church, the black reverends. They've got to use the NAACP, which was that is a white liberal founded organization. And there I said it. And now its original founding, it's a white liberal founded organization. And now Tracy Edwards happens to be the president of the Long Island chapter. So I think, it's ingredients, we've seen this, we've had these items before. So you get your little appetizer. But then I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to go through this entire thing line by line. I'm not going to go through this, but he's talking about the mocktail. Okay. And he's also, but at the core of it, at the heart of it, guess you can think, who's the target here? So just riddle through, just throughout this thing, you can find there's all kinds of references to, of course, the equity and equitable, and the CVAC, the COVAX. The COVAX is actually an entire portfolio of all of the big pharma companies that are a part of this effort. And that's their agenda. That's, to me, that's the global agenda. So we'll talk about, we have another candidate. Moderna has a new candidate for you that may even be the booster down the road. So we'll get to that in just a second. But I just wanted to get into this just a little bit. So he starts going into demographics in his bits here. So what I want to do is, I guess maybe I could preface it by talking about, I can preface the demographics here. So according to this is Cuomo again. He says, we're going to make this mocktail available in the communities that have been hardest hit. I'm asking faith-based churches, church leaders, pastors, let us use your church as a pop-up mocktail site. Opening up mocktail sites in public housing, opening up mocktail sites in community centers. We will bring the mocktail to the communities hardest hit. We've done over 120 pop-up sites already. I want to get my mocktail in a church, predominantly for the Black community, to make a point. But we need the Black community and the Hispanic community. Okay, so he goes on. He says, we need the Black community and the Hispanic community to come forward and have confidence in this mocktail. You want to hear a frightening number? On Long Island, about 11% of the population is Black. Only 5% has taken the mocktail. Half the eligible population. Hispanic community, about 17% of the population, only 8%. White community is actually higher than the population. We have to fix that. He says. All right. So then he goes on, he's going on about how it gets complicated. He's 8 minutes, 46 seconds in here, talks about how he wants to be honest. They'll say, quote, well, there's hesitancy problem in the Black community, end quote. Imagine that. It's not a hesitancy problem, he says. We tend to come up with polite definitions for problems we don't really like to acknowledge. Coming out of a liberal, right? Problems that we don't like to acknowledge. Imagine that. There's not a hesitancy problem, he says. There's a trust problem in the Black community. They don't trust the system. They don't trust the federal government. Trump administration said it's safe. They don't trust it. So here you got your all occasion tea, right? By the way, I didn't trust the Trump administration when they said it was safe. That's why we set up a whole separate New York State panel to review it. But we did set up a New York State panel and they reviewed it. The best doctors. We have done over 5 million doses. Nobody's experimenting on anyone. The leading Black medical professionals in the United States of America say, take the mocktail. All right, so now he's going on. I'm telling you, this thing he just keeps going on and on and on and on. But I think it's quite dense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a couple of comments here. Thank you so much. Marcy T. Marcy T says, this is outrageous. Yes, it was. She says, Soros was there then and now. And Marcy T says, all the usual suspects. Yes, yes, yes. And Marcy says, this is evil. Please, where's the strong men to protect us? I don't know. Maybe they're under a car. I don't know, Marcy T. I can't say. I don't have the answer to that. Okay. And so I'm just going to keep going on here. All right. So I'm going to keep going on. But he goes into the amount of there. I think, okay, I know this for a fact that in this transcript, there is their target. They're under their target. I think he's saying here throughout here that he'll reach a point where after all this work, I want to find that for you. After all this work, they've done 2 million mocktails. So, I mean, are you getting frustrated over there? Is that what it is? But they need to do the quota, I guess, is 15 million. So, they're bringing out, I mean, what will they do next? I guess that's what I'm on about. Okay. I'm a little bit loud there. So what will they do next? Okay. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, wherever you are, I don't know how much longer before the gloves come off or the grit comes out. I don't know. But I'm saying for them to, the thing about it is, it's like people are talking about this like a vacuum cleaner. Like, oh, I got that hottest vacuum cleaner out there. I'm making up a brand because I don't want to be implicated or whatever. So, oh yeah, what are you getting that new vacuum cleaner? Yeah, I got the Hunter Graham. Yeah, I'm getting the Green Jackson. Which one are you getting? Are you getting the Moderna? Are you getting the Pfizer? Which one are you getting? I mean, have you? I don't know. Is anybody else out there? I mean, I'd love to hear from you guys as to what does the climate look like in your area? What's the temperature in your area on something like this? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. So that's why I asked these questions, I guess. But yes, thank you so much, Marcy T, for coming in. I really appreciate it. And I haven't said this. If you guys could be so kind as to help us out with the algorithms by hitting the like button, or even I say the unlike button, or making sure you're still subscribed. That's baseline, what I call baseline levels of support. And also, if you could, yeah, just make sure that you're still subscribed. And I want to take a moment really quick before we take another break to remind you that we do have a Twitch campaign going on. And if you are over or joining us from over on Periscope, it would be helpful if you consider it, because I think they're going to be pulling the plug on that platform in about 13 days. So you will have 13 days to make your new home someplace. I don't know. And maybe you're not going to do anything. I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, you can't be inconvenienced about reality around here. It is what it is. Okay, so with that said, we're going to come back, and I'm going to probably round that one out. But I just thought it was, it's pretty outrageous, and it's pretty remarkable, the amount of efforts, and even her statement. So I'll come back and just talk about just a second about some of the statements that she made in reference to, um, about how she handles her own healthcare, her little anecdote there. All right, guys, we'll be right back. We'll have a word from our sponsors, and we'll do Twitch on a roll. We'll be right back. All right, guys, thanks so much once again for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And I do want to say this. This is a little bit of a side note here, but it looks like, in terms of, every now and then I will look at the actual stats, or the analytics, and I will look at those analytics across, platforms. But it looks like I have some listeners, at least down in Texas. So I've got quite a few listeners via podcast. So if anybody is listening to this in replay out of Texas, I want to thank you guys for the support out of Texas. I really appreciate that so much. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I don't know whether you are considering, but this is the main frame, the main brain, and this is Black Spring with Autumn on YouTube. But for those of you that are picking us up from the podcast, and that is on I think that's six platforms that we're available on. But yeah, thank you, Texas. I really appreciate that. In fact, I will give you guys I'll give you guys a bit of a formal thank you coming up. So thank you guys so much for the support out of there. But yes, let's just get back to is it Councilman Tracy A. Edwards. Okay, I might end up playing that clip for you again, because she talks about, now the first point I talked about was her saying, "Oh, Cuomo, we need you to stay on this. We need you to stay on this mocktail thing that you're on. We need you. We need you." So why don't they just make a propaganda poster with Uncle Sam and throw Cuomo in it? How about they just do that? That maybe they'll reach more people that way. I don't know. But she says that she's saying from an anecdotal point of view, she goes into, oh, well, later I'm going to get, well, maybe not later, but I'm going to be getting an infusion. And you know what? I'm going to stick out my arm and step out on faith. I'm not going to ask what's in it. I'm not going to do anything because that's what I need to do. And but there again, that's a personal choice. That's her body. That's her body, right? So that means she has the choice of how she wants to manage her. I don't want to misquote or be misinformed on her treatment, on her, if it's a cancer treatment, I believe, if that's the way she wants to manage her cancer treatment or her cancer battles, then that's her right to do that, right? Whatever happened to the my body, my choice. I Yeah, and like I said, she has the right to do that, but that doesn't mean that you come out and you tell other people that that's what they should be doing. So yeah, I am, that's what I'm on about. Is this is audacious. It's very audacious for them to select, here again, for people out there who tend to be color coded, who worship their skin tone. This is what I'm talking about. This woman is being presented to the Black community on some level of leadership. Now, she was also selected for this presser that was held out of New York with Governor Cuomo. This is somebody that's presented to you as a leader. This is somebody that they've chosen as, that they're saying this person has the right credibility. This person has what it takes. This person can deliver our message for us to you. This is what I'm talking about. I don't know if okay, so if she is a part of the public office there, that's one thing. But this is not a doctor. This is not a virologist. Where's the Kratos in that? Where is the Kratos in these presentations? Where is it? Where's Fauci? Where's the CD? Anybody from the CDC? You can't find anybody in New York. You cannot find anybody with medical teeth to present any of these things. I'm just thinking, who is really, you just see so many people shellacked on the front of these campaigns that you just have to wonder. I mean, who who are you? Where's your medical muscle on this? You just keep bringing out people. These are people. They're just people. At the end of the day, they're just people. That's all they are. And even if you did bring one of those, you still have to make a decision for yourself. And to me, what she's suggesting is, you don't have to be, you don't, it's a trust issue. You don't have to be concerned about what's in it. I mean, maybe she needs to be concerned about what's in her treatments. Maybe that's a flaw on her. If you want to treat your cancer treatments, like your infusion like that, okay, then do that. Then you do that. But you can't come rolling out these cookie cutter propagandists and saying, okay, okay, that's it now, everybody break, team break. Let's go do this. It's very insulting. So, but I gotta say, if they have 2 million out of 15 people that have successfully done this thing, then maybe the people are doing their due diligence, if you will, behind the scenes. I don't know. I mean, I don't live in New York, and I don't want to live there. And in fact, I'm I'm going. I don't want to go to the other end of the digression on that. But yes, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap that one out. I might even play it one more time for those in the back, or for those of us that have just now joined. But yes, I think this is a part here where Edwards actually enters, and she talks about the Black and brown New Yorkers. And I just really think it's really ignorant for people to talk about people in terms of colors, because if you look at me, I'm not if you want to go with reality, when I look, I'm not actually black. I'm more, if you want to find out if something is black in color, put it next to something and you'll find out. You'll find out. I just think all these misnomers and all these liberal terms and the little word salads, you've got to, they want you on their thinking path. They want you parroting their talking points. They want you to think like them. And I'm going to say this, I am not black. I am not black. Anybody out here wants to pull my card on that, you try it. Bring it. Bring it. But if you put, even my hair, I put my hair next to black and it's brown because it's not actually black. But I'm just thinking, why do we have this very generic, this generic identity politics garbage going around? It's not actually black. So why are you referring to black people as actually black? Why are you actually referring to Hispanics or Latinos as brown? They're not all brown. Some of them are super fair skinned. I just wish that they've got people on their flesh. And I'm sorry, I'm about to go a little bit raw right now. They're funky flesh. If you want to go biblical, any of that stuff, they say your flesh means nothing. I'm not a minister. I'm not trying to tell you guys how to live your life. I'm not even trying to tell you how to color your hair. I'm just telling you, these people are obsessed with this. They're obsessed. And even if they get it wrong, they are misinforming, they're miseducating children. That is not black. That is not brown. What are you talking about? If it doesn't pass the sniff test, you can debunk most things that they say. And and dare you ask them why? And they just go absolutely bat crazy. Why are you doing this? Why are you referring to people in some generic shades? At one point they said, gender was a spectrum, but color is too. So what are you talking about? Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. You're not being honest. You're being dishonest. You're miseducating. You're misinforming people. You're propagandizing. You are you're brainwashing people. You're brainwashing kids. You want people to think that a color is something that unites people, and it's actually not. It's not. You're not even honest about the color. You're not honest about the flesh. You're not. You want people to put stock in their flesh. And whether you're religious, you're spiritual or not, we all know that doesn't hold much weight. We all know that. So how can people ignore these things is what my problem is. And how can you have a Governor Cuomo and a councilwoman and a bunch of black ministers and a Cuomo sandwich is what I'm calling it, and be begging this guy, oh, we need you, oh, we need you. You need him? You need him. What do you need him for? Tell us. And to alderman, not alderman, but to the councilwoman, why do they need him? Why? So just for the people in the back, I've been on about this for 43 minutes. 43 minutes and 43 seconds. I really appreciate you guys. And I will say we were successful. We got in before the sunrise. I mean, I could have gotten a sunrise. I could have gotten a fantastic sunrise, but I was trying to beat the sunrise so that I could I prefer to kind of do the homegrown. So I figure, going forward, this is a digression here for anybody that's just joining in the future. I'm going to be BSWA it's going to be more of a stationary studio, and it's going to be, so I'll be doing a little bit less of the screens and, a little bit less of that. But yes, but one more time for the people in the back. And thank you guys so much for just joining in. Awesome Alice is here. And I read a couple of comments, and I'm going to play it one more time. Awesome Alice, good morning. I don't think it's afternoon for anybody just yet. So I made it. So Marcy T says, the world climate is all fighting. One over is red, blue, or green. I mean, come on. And Awesome Alice says, the loony bin, don't go to the beyond. And Awesome Alice says, you more like a milk chocolate. It's so funny, yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. All right. All right. So I was somebody wanted to chop it up from I don't want to tell my high school graduation year, but that's a friend of mine from high school, like a long time ago. But we've been friends for a long time. And but yeah, but let me get back here. So and okay, so Marcy T says I'm an ex-registered nurse, RN drug studies used to be over 20 years or so. No, I will not be a guinea pig for no government. Keep it going, Marcy T. And Awesome Alice's, yep, they go bunkers. And okay, so Marcy T says lying to your face, and she's a murderer. And Awesome Alice says it's just the largest living organ on your body. It merely is a container for your organ keeper to protect your blood and blood in and muscles covered. So yeah, so here's the thing. Was it David Webb? I think it was David Webb who said that that the skin is an organ that cannot think and it cannot articulate ideas. And I just thought that was because he was accused of having this was back a while back. I think he was accused of was it white privilege, and turns out before the interview was over, he had to tell this race baiter that I'm not even white. So what privilege would you be referring to? If I need to go down, um, I'm not going down my lineage, but I'm not even white. But you're calling. See, this is the thing. This is the thing. People understand that at this point, white privilege can mean anything. In fact, I created a little bit of a meme or a little bit of a before long, they're going to be telling people that are married, that have kids, that they have white privilege. In fact, I have some imagery. I had some artwork that I was going to share with. That was my assertion. That is going to be white privilege because these things. This is not. There's nothing new about this. That what's it the Cloward and Piven strategy was where they used this once before, and this was when the destabilization of the family it was a huge effort. And this was again coming out of our institutions. They're saying that families were that was telling the Black family that was a Eurocentric thing. To be a part of a family, to have a family was, that's a Eurocentric thing. Like, what are you doing? You're what are you doing? You're Black. You're not, you're Black. You can't be doing this. So I'm saying at any moment now, that's there it is. But is it new? No. But who's going to fall for it? Should I dare say, should I dare say the one voters, if you will, something like that? People that don't get anything, or the thing is, I talked about this all the time. And this is not to impugn or insult anybody, but you do. I'm telling you, you have some people are totally, absolutely fine with being functionally illiterate. And I'm not saying that's not to say that you're not a high school graduate or that you even dropped out of junior high. That's not to say that. But you can function. You can function without reading things. You can function after graduation without reading anything else. You can. You can. But nobody ever talks about that. But these are the kinds of people that this kind of thinking and this type of kratos and this type of propaganda works on. So without further ado, and welcome in Tyrant Spain TDOA. Thanks so much for coming in. So right now I'm going to go ahead and play you guys that little interview right out of New York. It's it seems like every Thursday we have something hot coming out of there. So I had to lighten things up a little bit so you can see. Okay. All right. So here we go. We're going to go back to that little clip. So this is the last time for people in the back. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn.
We need you to continue going with this vaccine. We need you to keep going with this vaccine. COVID has devastated the state. Long Island continues to be the hardest hit, especially for our Black and brown New Yorkers. vaccine. Now, I'm going to tell you a personal story, off script. So today, right after this, I am going to have an infusion. And I'm going to have an infusion because I want to make sure that the cancer that was in my body does not return. I'm not asking what's in the infusion. I'm not looking up all of the ingredients in the infusion. I am sitting out my arm and I am taking the infusion. And that's what we.
All right, guys. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn again. So there again, isn't what she's saying in some ways? She says, I'm not looking up this, I'm not doing that. Isn't that a bit antithetical to literacy? You're not, you see what I'm talking about? She is saying, I subscribe to not using literacy to see what's in the mocktail. Give it to me for my infusion. And just like me, you do the same. That's what I mean. Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down here? I mean, is that what I'm saying? I mean, do you get that from her? She says, Councilman says it's okay. The 15 revs behind us says it's okay. Do it. We need 15 million people to get this done. And we got 2 million. So it looks like even Cuomo's a little bit frustrated. I tell you one thing, maybe his governorship will be based on how many people got mocktails. Is that it? Is that, the governor with the most mocktails wins? I don't know. I'm just saying, what, am I missing something here? I'm not in politics, and I don't have to be, but I'm just saying, I'm just wondering, is that a part of the agenda as well? I don't know. Maybe it's the biggest bailout goes to the statist with the most mocktails. I don't know. Good morning to you, Kimone Reed, Unstoppable. Thank you so much for coming in, and you are catching us on. It seems like I'm on a mocktail rant every single Thursday almost. But there's something coming out of New York. I'm a couple of days behind on that. That's about 2 days old. In fact, I believe it's on March 15th. I believe when that particular presser was done. But yes, they are. So as I said just a few moments ago, they are asking the churches to create pop-up. They want pop-up locations. Okay, so it's in your face now. It's beyond the pharmacy. It's beyond the CVS. They are going to. They're asking these ministers to make their place. And see, I told you guys about this before. The HR 6666. That particular bill provided funding for not just the contact tracing, but it also provided. It's going to provide cash. So what do you think? Do you think these people are not enticed by the fact that they could very well get some cash for allowing their churches and their community centers to be used for this? I'm just saying, what it's possible, right? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a comment here, and then I'm going to take a miniature break here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Sunrise Surprise. All right. And Awesome Alice says, hi, John H. Roberts Jr. Thank you so much for coming in. And Awesome Alice says, the president in Africa passed away. He said, if the white man was so concerned about cocktail, but yet no cocktail for AIDS and HIV, he refused a cocktail for his people, and now he's dead and gone. Wow. Awesome Alice. That's very interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a look at that. I'll dig around on that. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing that. All right. And Kimone Reed says, hello, everyone. And like I said, I'm pretty sure everybody was, what are you talking about? Sunrise Surprise. Is it, you guys are probably past sunrise already, but the goal was for me to get in before the sunrise. And I was successful with that. But yeah, Yeah. And John H. Roberts says, all good questions. Thank you, John H. Roberts. But I'm curious. But I'm just saying that Bobby Rush out of Chicago authored the HR 6666 bill. And yeah, it was, he talked about what was included. You know, there's funds, there's money. There's money for the promotion of the COVAX. And then from now on, I'm going to refer to this as COVAX because it's not just one company. It's not just Pfizer, it's not just BioNTech, it's not just AstraZeneca, it's not just Moderna, it's not just there's some other ones, Johnson and Johnson. It's not just those. The COVAX is basically a portfolio, the portfolio of big pharma that came together, and their mission is, along with Gavi and some of these other groups, their mission is equitable and equity. You know, equality and equity. Those are at the front of their mission there. So they're not going to stop. So I'm going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and find out. We have one candidate right now, and I'll tell you who from the COVAX portfolio is working on some new things. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment. And right before that, Marcy T says the gas chamber is personalized per person. All right, Marcy T. All right. Thanks so much, guys. I will be right back. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So I really appreciate you guys for being here. And I've got this notion, or I've got this inclination that I want to talk about this Cloward pivot strategy. I just want to tell you first and foremost, that's a Columbia University concept. Okay. So I guess I don't really have I could do a presentation on it, but it's generally, it was orchestrated. It was for orchestrated crisis, the Cloward Piven strategy. Now, this guy was identified as pretty much historically, he's a radical socialist, Columbia University professor, whose Saul Alinsky-inspired strategy of the 1960s seeks to force the fall of capitalism by overwhelming the government bureaucracy with impossible demands. I'm telling you guys, this stuff is not new. It is so not new. Not at all. So this injection is like, we live in the 60s again. You know, they're being, Columbia is basically, to me, the birthplace of all of the radicalism and the destabilization. They had a plan. The plan is working. It's been working. But now the plan is working on Black and white people. Now that might be strong, but it is. I think it's working. You know, so I don't know what they're going to call. What are they going to tell? You know, what eventually will be the rhetoric or the propaganda behind, you know, it's alternative things are destabilizing efforts. So yeah. So I'm going to break from that just a little bit. So we'll move on to our COVAX member who has something new in the brew. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I'm going to read a comment or two, and then I'll move us on to our COVAX candidate. All right. So we have Awesome Alice says they give people a jobs bonus for the mocktail. They call it the mocktail incentive program. My friend about to quit his job because he said, "My body, my choice." He said they are trying too hard to push this. And Awesome Alice says, I was looking at the CDC now. They have how to survive in zombie apocalypse on their page. Can you say I am Legion? All right. Thanks so much, Awesome Alice, for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on over to our next story. I want to thank you guys so much for coming in. And if you haven't had an opportunity to hit the like button, it'll be great if you can do that. You still have time. You still have time to hit the like button. So I appreciate it. Or the unlike button, do what you need to do. Tell us how you really feel around here. Everybody else does. So what do we have? Okay, so we're going to go with Moderna's new candidate. All right. I'm going to be sharing that with you here in just a moment. So thank you guys, as usual, for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to be sharing the screen with you to come up right now. All right. So this is going to come from, we have Moderna begins testing on its new CV19 mocktail candidate. So they're going to dazzle you with what this one can do. Okay, so this comes from the CBC News. All right, so according to this, what you see before you is under health, Moderna begins testing on its new CV19 mocktail candidate. The company says the candidate could be shipped in refrigerators instead of freezers. So look, they're making some gains there, not gains, but leads there. So according to this, Moderna said the new mocktail candidate it's working on could make distribution easier. Now, you guys, by now, of course, you heard, the distribution was an issue, and even the distribution is racist. Okay, we got to fix that. According to this, Moderna Inc. said on Monday it had dosed the first participant in an early stage study of the new CV mocktail candidate that could potentially be stored and shipped in refrigerators instead of freezers. The company said its new candidate could make it easier for distribution, especially in developing countries where the supply chain issues could hamper mocktail drives. Okay. The early stage study will assess the safety and immunogenicity of the next generation mocktail, designated as mRNA 1283 at 3 dose levels, and will be given to healthy adults either as a single dose or in 2 doses 28 days apart, the company said. All right, so they give you can get the formal press release if you want it. And this is from them here on the Moderna. I guess this is the tweets. We just announced that the first participants have been dosed in phase 1, the study of the mRNA 1283, our next generation of CV19 mocktail candidate. So if you want that press release, of course I can provide that. If you guys want that, put a 1 in the stream. If you don't want it, I won't put it there. Okay, Moderna also plans to evaluate the new mocktail mRNA 1283 as a potential booster shot in future studies. So, I've heard of a booster already in the fall. So, if you've got 1, not 2, but 3, where does it end, right? Last week, Moderna began dosing the first participants in a study testing the CV19 booster mocktail candidates targeting the variant known as the B.1.351 that was first detected in South Africa. The booster mocktail candidates designated mRNA 1273.351 will be tested in a trial of both variant-specific jab and a multivalent jab, according to the company's announcement. Moderna's first mocktail, mRNA 1273, was approved for use by Health Canada on December 23rd. So that's coming out of Canada. So I just say, maybe not take advantage. Do we have a stripe in the house? Yeah, we've got some some wonkiness going on here. All right, so I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So that was coming out of the CBC, is it Canada? I'm going to put that there for you. Because if you want to get, the actual, sometimes the pressers have a lot of information in there. Okay, we have an IGNXVCIO. I'm not sure what this is. I think you got the wrong channel, my friend. You might want to check the community tab. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to read a comment here from my son. Godfather is Tim, and he called me, said his sister is trying to convince him to get the mocktail. He called me and said, "Save me, friend." He said, "All I need is food and shelter, and you do it, not me." Okay, all right. Well, that's very interesting there, Austin Alice. Very courageous. It's really intense. I'm saying I don't know. Nobody really knows where this thing is going to go. But I don't think it. I think I think they're going to start. They're going to change their game. That's what I actually think is going to. I think what I say. No more Mr. Nice Guy. I'm wondering it. How long? How long? And Austin Malice says the new hashtag on Facebook is quote hashtag I got mocktailed. And they take pictures. I've never seen so many taken photos of. You see what I'm saying? I was talking about earlier. It's not like a vacuum cleaner. Like, are you going to go out and get 100 gram or a Fox and Jack's? Oh, I got. Which one did you get? Look at mine. What did you get? I'm going to get this one. I'm going to get. Is it an ice cream shop? It's it's just bizarre. It's yeah. I don't know. But there again, I think that's propaganda too. I think that's I think that's content a CMS propaganda. That's propaganda that you can see. That's they're gonna show that. They'll make that go viral. They'll make that, and I wouldn't even be surprised if that doesn't start happening. That you don't start seeing these people doing their little vax testimonies via videos and you name it. And it's gonna appeal to people. It's gonna appeal to people. Let's see. Simone Reed, Unstoppable, says Canada is planning so things for Canadian. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you on that. Playing some things. Thank you so much, Kimon Reed, Unstoppable. Yes, please, if you don't mind keeping us up to date on that, I really appreciate it. So Marcy T says it fits the criteria of the Mark of the Beast, right down to its patent 0606 060. I'm trying to get all the sixes in there. And the name Luciferase, it's my studies brought me here, my opinion. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for lending your expertise and your credentials to our conversation, Marcy T, because we don't have a lot of people speaking out. We don't. I've talked about the series, the frontline doctors, that community, and I think I shared something like that on the community tab as well. So yeah, anything that you'd like to share, and you've done studies on this, we appreciate that. Yeah, so thank you so much, Marcy T. I really appreciate it. I mean, I think for some reason, not for some reason, I know for a fact that there are some certain doctors that will not talk about this thing. They won't talk about it because they consider, they know it's incriminating. They know they know it. They know it. In fact, I've heard it. I've actually heard it from one. So but that's why I appreciate you for your veracity and for your integrity. But yeah, this is turning into a state. This is turning into a state effort. So, without further ado on that, I'm going to keep us going here. So yeah, we've been talking about. I just want to get just a smidge into. We've talked about children being the agents of change and that kind of a bit. But the only thing I also wanted to add was that we've had in the past, we've had the Obama administration as well as the Biden administration. They have, are they sharing the same playbook yet? Because FEMA has been tapped before to deal with the influx of the undocumented children, and there again, you got to do. They're going to use these pictures, the imagery of the children to pull at your heartstrings. So we're going to go into that just for a second, go into that for just a bit. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment. But yes, this is what 2014 is what we're talking about, the differences of 2021 and 2014. So we'll go with the first one. This was a bit watered down. These aren't my vetted sources, but you might find, you can at least find some nuance of, and some facts. There's some morsel of facts inside of some of these. So I'm going to share that one, and we'll take this one from Vox, and I just want to show you the imagery there, and then we'll cross reference it with a 2014. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it, and so I'm going to share that with you. So we're going to go to Vox first. I hope you guys are doing well out there on your. It's today. Today is Thursday. I'm going to get it together any moment now. Okay. So we're going to go over to Vox, and you'll see that FEMA has been ordered to the U.S.-Mexico border to help with the unprecedented surge in migrant children. Okay, the deployment is meant to help manage a growing logistical crisis. But the terminology has changed, right? They're not, we went from cages to what, containers to what else? The cages. What are they going to call them next? Okay, so this is the pen person here is Zeeshan Alim. Okay, according to this, the Biden administration is enlisting the Federal Management Emergency Agency, FEMA, to help manage an unprecedented surge in an unaccompanied migrant children entering the United States through the U.S.-Mexico border. The deployment is meant to help manage a growing logistical crisis that has seen the Biden administration turn to the use of detention facilities and tent shelters that some immigration advocates have condemned as inhumane and unsuitable for children. President Joe Biden reversed the T-era policy of turning away migrant children who cross into the U.S. without their parents soon after taking office. But his administration has struggled to manage the process of caring for and sheltering them and placing them with a vetted sponsor, usually a parent or other family member who lives in the U.S., in a timely manner, and finding spaces at facilities appropriate for housing minors. To help manage the recent influx of minors, about 700 have come to the U.S. in the last few days, according to the Washington Post. Now, don't quote me on these numbers. I'm telling you this is a Vox perspective here. And, here again, the numbers, I'm not even sure I trust those numbers, but here about 700 have come to the U.S. in the last few days, according to the Washington Post. And the Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said on Saturday that FEMA would help, quote, receive, shelter, and transfer, end quote, unaccompanied minors coming across the border over the next 90 days. There are a few goals the administration hopes to accomplish through this collaboration. Under U.S. law, children are required to be transferred from the Border Patrol stations to shelters run by the Department of Health and Human Services within 72 hours. But according to the Washington Post, DHS has been routinely failing to meet this target, and instead, children are being held for 108 hours on average before being transferred. The administration has reportedly asked for volunteers from ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, to help the overall surge in migrants. Okay, wait a minute. Wait. Let's stop here just a second. Okay, let's go backwards just let's go back 3 to 6 months. No, let's go back a couple of years. So isn't it ironic that they would ask for the ICE to support them when they've totally demonized ICE over the last couple of years? Do you guys find that interesting? That ICE was totally demonized when in fact you might find anybody from any on a regular basis. You might find a border patrol or somebody from there, bringing diapers or bringing formula during the previous administration. So now all of a sudden they'll even ask ICE to assist with their plan. But does that lend veracity to the narrative? That doesn't fit the narrative. I said all that to say that doesn't fit the narrative of what we were told. We were told that ICE were horrible human beings that were mistreating the adults potentially. So, and in fact, there were children before. There were children less than 18 months ago there. So is there really that much of a difference? Did they fire everybody from CB from the border patrol, and they got new people in now that are going to miraculously treat them differently than the previous administration? Does this narrative add up with you guys? I'm just saying, I'm just trying to connect a few dots here that don't add up to me. You trust the people that are there, but you didn't trust them 6 to 18 months ago. Okay. Got it. All right. So we'll get back to the Vox here. So the administration has reportedly asked volunteers. So these are volunteers I'm talking about. You're asking volunteers after they were politically demonized for almost 2 years when it came to the people that were already there to help the overall surge in migrants. And DHS and HHS announced plans Friday to work more quickly to match unaccompanied children with guardians at the moment. HHS is also reportedly overwhelmed by unaccompanied children and is receiving children into its care more quickly than it can find sponsors for them. These administrative backlogs are causing shelters to become overcrowded, as Vox's Nicole Naria has explained. And because shelters designed for holding children are at capacity, in part because the CV-19 related restrictions have decreased available space. Nearly 4,000 children are being crammed into jail cells and other facilities meant for adults. The Post reports that lawyers who represent migrant children are warning that these shelters, quote, have become dangerously overcrowded, end quote. Quote, a Border Patrol facility is no place for a child, end quote, Mayorkas said in a statement. Quote, we are working in partnership with the HHS to address the needs of unaccompanied children, which is made only more difficult given the protocols and restrictions required to protect the public health and the health of the children themselves, end quote. FEMA has played this role before in 2014. There you go. In 2014, the Obama administration turned to the agency to help set up temporary shelters and processing stations in military bases to assist with the surge in arrivals of unaccompanied minors. As Vox's Nicole Naria has reported, immigrant advocates are concerned about safety of temporary facilities that the Biden administration has made use to deal with the overflow. Okay, quote, we must not repeat these mistakes and expose more children to the long-term physical and mental effects of detention, end quote. Oliver Torres, a senior outreach paralegal for the Southern Poverty Law Center Immigrant Justice Project, said in a statement in February, quote, to simply return to failed model of children detention of the pre-Trump era is missed opportunity to meaningfully reimagine our immigration system, particularly with respect to immigrant children. Okay, so here again, you see this thing is dripping with the word immigrant here, because these situations don't occur if they're done by process, or they're done by if it's legal. You want to inject legality. Well, if they're doing it legally, then they wouldn't be detained, right? You see the language here. I think most Americans have no issue with people immigrating to the US. They have an issue with the illegal immigration. So there again, you have their words there. And that's why I'm saying the figures there, I think it could probably be more children there. And it's not, and it's not. There again, it's not the children's fault. No, it's not. But the amount of manipulation and the amount agendas that are being pushed here are what are putting these children at risk. Their journey alone to the US was a mismanagement was a derelict thing to do. And to encourage that and nobody to really put any real teeth behind what's actually happening, it just says to me, you guys are fulfilling your own agendas here as usual. And you're not caring about these kids. You guys don't care about these children. You don't. Is it unfortunate that they're in these facilities? Yes, it is. But how did they get there? We always tend to always get the result. We don't talk about the before and the after. We always go to the after is what we're dealing with here. They're here without children. They're here without parents. So how did that happen? How does that happen? And what part of the agenda do these kids serve? What are you doing with these kids? And why are you dealing with illegal immigration during a pandemic? Why are you even dealing with that right now? It's just outrageous. It's outrageous, the things and the way that they use people. They use people for sympathy, but then they destabilize them. They destabilize them at the same time. They turn enemies into heroes. It's interchangeable. It's interchangeable what they're doing. It is diabolical is what they're doing. So yeah, that's what I'm on about. Manipulating these kids, manipulating their plight, their struggles. Do they have struggles? Yes. Do kids here have struggles? Yes. But you're going to use that to achieve many things. And as per usual, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this sunrise surprise. And we're going to take just a quick break, and we'll be right back to round out this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And if you guys could please hit the like button for the Channelytics, I really appreciate it. And Philip J. Turner says, sorry, but other countries' issues just isn't our problem, as we give yearly cash to their governments. So folks need to take care of their own countries back, take their own countries back and raise their own children. Fair enough. Yes. And see, there again, I'm about to go on to something else, but I'll go on to that. I'll talk about that when I come right back. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. And thank you so much, Philip J. Turner, for coming in. It's been a lifetime. I hope you're doing well out there. And I'll be right back. And I want to talk about just a little bit, I'm going to round that out. But I'll be right back. Thanks, guys. right, guys. Thank you guys so much again for tuning into the segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And so thank you so much, Philip J. Turner, for coming in. So what I want to say is this, I don't see, the thing about it is, in order to continue the black and brown, the brown narrative, this is the to me, the core of the brown narrative is the migration compact was something that came up. I don't know if you guys remember the surge on the border around the late fall of 2018. And at that time, there was this thing out there, in step with the UN, called the Migration Compact. And many nations signed the Migration Compact, and they had a due date, which was December of 2018, December of 2018, that Migration Compact was due to be signed. But Trump did not sign that Migration Compact. So when you started seeing the surge on the border, that surge was happening just a couple of months, a few months before that Migration Compact was due. And I would imagine many children were there at that particular time. Yes, and at that time, that's what I'm talking about. The Border Patrol. Um, you could see Border Patrol picking up the formula and diapers back in 2018. So this is, we're back in the cycle. I talk about things being looped. I talk about Groundhog's Day. These things are not new. They're just to me on a cyclical kind of a pattern. But yes, I think that there were many children at that time. Did you guys remember all the imagery where they said, "Oh, well, they're throwing tear gas and they're doing this and that, and there's kids down there." Of course, there's the imagery was the kids. Okay, so let me just scroll this for you. This imagery was not shown at the time. And instead, you might have a mother, or you might have people fleeing because they were hurling projectiles at the border in the fall of 2018. And at that time, there were kids down there at the time. In fact, you could see them putting kids over the border, and literally they were sliding down on the other side. So it's funny how this current regime is talking about, they're trying to present this united front now, that the people somehow, all of the CBP, I guess, in the Department of Homeland Security, I guess everybody is helping out. They're all fit to assist with what's going on right now, because there's somebody else on the plow right now, running the plow. But I don't imagine that it's any different. I don't think it's any less humane than it was in 2018. I'm not convinced. I don't care what the Vox says. But I said all that to say this. So we're going to do just one last piece of this, and we're going to call it done. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I have a couple comments here. Marcy T says, yes, Marcy, it's sad. That's why they had so many trafficking housing bust here lately. Finds hundreds of kids, but what about the ones they don't find? And Kimon Reed says, thanks for Twitch shout out. Yes, no problem. Then that will continue. I will continue to do the shout outs on the Twitch, because Twitch is going to keep going on. Even if we just get down to Twitch, we'll keep going on. But yes, I do say, this is very difficult. It's very difficult to see how kids can be used in a situation like this. Yeah, I mean, who knows? But like I said, I could probably do an entire show on that. I probably could. But yes, but this is the same thing. This is no different than the playbook that the Obama administration used, that they deployed FEMA to go down. But see, here again, if you want to talk about constrained government and constrained versus this populist situation, in a constrained government, according to the Constitution, the states are supposed to manage. States have the authority to manage their own issues. It's not a federal response. And do you think the left is doing anything that's constitutional? No, there's all kinds of violations with what they're doing. These foreign entanglements, period, are violations of their oath of office, but they don't care because they're serving their agenda. They only pull that out when they want to use it to when they want to try to use the law against the opposition or the other party. So, but no, this is, if you want to go with that, it's unconstitutional what they're doing. Yeah, the way they're using our resources, the amount of foreign entanglements, the emergency management crisis was never supposed to be, done by an alphabet agency from the government. The government is absolutely huge. FEMA is not supposed to be technically, in a constrained government. FEMA shouldn't even exist. That the states should handle their own issues, even when it comes, whether it's natural disaster, whether it's CV-19, whether this is not, for the constitutionalist, it is not constitutional what they're doing. But do they care that they are disrupting people's lives and destabilizing people to achieve their globalist agenda? No, they are not bothered by that at all. The emotional damage and the physical damage, yes, that's called a destabilization. And yeah, you're reporting on it, but you're blaming it on somebody else, which I think they're almost recruiting people to come up, but they have yet to say not to come. But then they want to complain about, oh, well, we're so concerned about the mental and the physical effects that these cages or these containers have on these kids, which, their horror and their nightmare began a long time ago. So what was your concern on that? I'll wait. If you guys have got something, I can be reproved around here. But it's just not what it is. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. And I saw a comment from Philip J. Turner, who says, I've been out prepping garden and planting food crops last 2 weeks. Very smart, Philip J. Turner. That's very smart. And I really appreciate you guys so much for coming in. And once again, I hope you guys, let me just have a look really quickly here. I don't want to do, I think I've seen some content creators that literally they'll say, all right, it's that time again. Let's go and check in and make sure we do our likes and unlikes. I'm not going to do that, but I'm just curious. Let me just see how starved or how undernourished we are. Because we have voyeurs and, and that's fine. That's fine to do. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine to have voyeurs, but if you want us to stick around for the long term, it helps when we have likes and shares and subscribes. Yeah, that's the way this business is run right now. So it's there. Shout out to Derek C. Williams. It's their tube. So we have to, go with their play by their rules. And sometimes when they make them up, oh, we have somebody over on Twitch right now. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in from over on Twitch. And looks like we have somebody over on Periscope. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. All right, so I'm going to run a couple of infomercials, and then we're going to get out of here. I think we've talked a little bit, just to recap on what we've done here today. We've talked about more propaganda coming out of New York. We've got the Black matriarchs. The Black matriarch-ish. I don't know if I can call that a matriarch. We got the Black women being on the front of these campaigns for the mocktail. And when it's not hip hop, it's the Black women now. Okay. The quota is 15 million out of New York, and they've only done 2 million, according to Cuomo in his interview there. I think I put that link in the stream for you guys. I don't know. What's the quota for your state? Yeah. So we started out with that. We also got into the border just a little bit. But of course, I was cross-referencing a 2014 line in which the Obama administration tapped FEMA to do the same thing when it came to the management of, which they're referring to people as immigrants. And I'm going to refer to them on this show as migrants because technically that's what they are. If you're, undocumented, says if you're undocumented, then you don't exist almost, right? So yeah, I'm saying there, if you dig a little bit, if you don't ask questions, don't look for ingredients. That's what we learned. We learned today, Councilwoman Tracy Edwards says, don't ask about ingredients. And then just don't ask the why questions. I have a friend that says that. But he's not saying it in the same vein. He's not talking about it in terms of that. All right. So what we're going to do is, so that was kind of a recap on where we've been today. But yeah, so it's just, it's just, where will they stop? I don't know what they're going to do next. I do believe that the gloves are going to come off at some point. I do believe that if you are, I do believe that if you are receiving some type of subsidy, I think maybe they're going to go after that. For the people. This is, for the people. And it's for equity and equality, right? So I think eventually the gloves will come off. They're not meeting their quotas. And but then I did a story the other day. I gave you a story the other day in which they've decided to start from, I think, 6. They're going to start testing these mocktails on the 6 from the kids 6 months and up, I think, is where that's their new candidate. In fact, I think we're all just a little bit, we're all just a part of the lab. We're all on the lab. We're all on the cheese wheel. We're all on it. All right. And I have a couple comments here. Thank you so much, Marcy T. I told you guys the other day, this is not, it's a little homegrown around here. I prefer sometimes just the homegrown stuff. We don't have hair and makeup. We do everything here ourselves. Do everything here ourselves. So I appreciate it. And Marcy T says, your calmness is shiny. Well, I appreciate it. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe it's the juice. I don't know. I appreciate it. And Marcy T says, they are telling us you are dumb. Don't question. Just take it now. And Marcy T says, they will get a bloodbath. Ooh, okay. Well, there you go. But yes, so that's pretty much where we were today. We ended up on mocktails again, propaganda pieces, the poor kids, the poor migrant children at the border. And yes, in fact, I think I'm hearing that they're probably getting, it doesn't seem, have we had a press conference from this current administration? Does anybody know? I don't know. It's like, or is the UN the president of the US right now? I mean, dare I say anything like that? Because it just doesn't feel, I'm going to use the word feel. It doesn't feel like the leadership everybody talked about do you see it? Are you feeling like you're led, or what are you feeling? I mean, even the press secretary she's a real piece of work. I mean, I find it hard to follow her. She does more deflection than just deflect. Well, I don't know what you mean. Well, are you referring to this? We'll refer to that. I'll get back to you. Circle back, loop back, round back, double back. See ya. I don't know. It's like no man's land. But we'll see. We'll see. We're still in the beginnings. We're in the beginnings of the throes of this new administration. So I don't know how it's working out for you, but with all the things that are going on, let's just take leadership out of it. The presence of a leader is not there. If I just, that's about as mild as I can put it. And we need more than just a body, of course, but there's the presence there, the Internationally, I think things are going unreported. Let's see, one other thing. I think I missed something here, but I think we're actually good. All right, guys, I'm going to run just a couple more infomercials and say hi to everybody, and then we're going to round out the stream. Thank you guys so much for coming in. And for those of you who have taken the time to hit the like button on this morning's Sunrise Surprise, I really appreciate it. Okay, we will be right back. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, or music, there's something for everyone. So please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Joseph Francis Burton, Paralysis by Analysis, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back, right after this. Guys, thank you guys so much for coming in. I want to say hi to everybody in the stream, and it looks like we have Zero the Infinite here. Thank you so much for coming in. He says greetings. And we have Jermaine G. Thank you so much, Jermaine G. Blessings to you. And I really appreciate it. And I want to give a comment. Anarchy Television is here. Thank you guys so much for coming in. If you guys could please high five that like or the unlike button, as well as if you dare to share this out, that's even better. Also, please make sure you're still subscribed, because I call that that's the baseline support around here. I really appreciate it. So what I want to do is I'm going to share a comment here. Philip J. Turner says, bad. Fuel went up 70 cents in 2 months. At this rate, we'll be spending pennies in 2 years. 4 years, we're all broke and many homeless. Future not bright in short term. Thank you for your perspective there, Philip J. Turner. Yes, it's somehow I don't believe the spending is going to stop. I don't think the spending is going to stop. I really don't. I mean, I'm sure they have another bill already. Thank you, Jermaine G, for coming in. And this is under new administration. And Anarchy Television is here. Thank you so much. Nice to see you. Keep up the great work. But Jermaine G says, my notification is on, but I'm not being notified of your live whenever you're live. Well, unfortunately, this is what happens in my experience. For people that I'm subscribed to, I have to go. I think that's a level of, I don't think they do much of notifications anyway, but I end up going on to that person's page and I hit the alert or the reminder button. But I will try to get I don't want to commit to a schedule, because I know things are going to change for me very soon. So I don't want to give a schedule and then still not be there. But I'll try to at least post them the night before. So or maybe I could at least give you approximate days. I think Thursdays are looking like really good days. Yeah, for a consistent day. And then even I've had a lot of I think I like the response that I get on Thursdays. So yes, right on. See, there you go. Zero to Infinite says Twitch actually notifies me more than YouTube. See, that's why I'm saying I think it's not bad. It's almost like having Twitch right now is could almost be like a secondary insurance for your YouTube channel. You can reinforce what's going on, even your schedule. I mean, I'm even actually able to put a schedule over there, and that might even help support. That'll cross reference. So for whatever you're not getting here, then maybe if I put something up there, even if it's 11th hour, then you'll get it so that you can be here on the mainframe brain if you want. So Marcy T says, money is gone. We can never pay it back. And Philip J. Turner says, poor man tax. Marcy T says, I'm too lazy to learn Twitch. Thank you so much, Marcy T. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. You know, we are actually growing there. I think we're still about halfway before we make one of the milestones on Twitch. But as I say always, I appreciate you guys for it because it's cumbersome to have all of these platforms going on, and you just can't, and you can't just be, you know, on one. But it's and look, we have support. You got support coming from Zero the Infinite there. He says, hey, Marcy T, the same. He says, Twitch isn't hard to learn. It's very easy. So I don't know. You guys are supporting each other. I think if you just download, I don't know if you, I know they have it on Apple iPhones as well as Android. So if you just download the app. And as a matter of fact, I'll put in the actual link right here in case you want to view it because you can't, it's hard to search it. Even I think Twitch has some things that they need to work out without a doubt. The user experience there. But from the desktop, I think it's you know, you get a lot of clarity on the desktop. However, on the when you go from the mobile device, I think the mobile device is not as friendly. I don't think so. Let's plug that there. So yeah, so there you go. Zero the Infinite. Thank you so much. And if you're over, is anybody over on? I don't know. Somebody's over on Twitch right now. I just don't know who it is. It doesn't tell me who's over there. It just gives me numbers. So thank you so much, Marcy T. I really appreciate that. So yes, and we will have a Twitch honor roll, and yeah, just for support over there because I do appreciate you guys for keeping the veins, keeping it, you know, viable over there. And in fact, I have yet to do an actual live stream directly from Twitch. So I guess that's going to be on the docket for me to do. I need to do that really soon. And Philip J. Turner says, Biden says he isn't raising taxes on those making less than $400,000. This DLS nut fuel going up that fast is an extreme taxation on the lower middle class. Biden is a fool. ... with 3 stars. Yeah, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. You know, I don't believe anything that comes out of I don't believe anything that comes out of there. Just yeah, I don't. I'm not. Zero the Infinite says there's not much to learn unless you're gonna stream. So yeah, so you know, like I said, you know, go over there. I think there's some other platforms that you might be familiar with over there. I'm not sure of who's all over there, but I think people are trying to, like I said, give you that you got some insurance there in case one goes down, you've got somewhere else to go. And actually, I have not even. One day I might try to go live from the mobile app. The mobile app actually has a capability to go live from Twitch as well. So I might do that. We might have a live party or something, the first live party over there or something. I don't know. I'm trying to get it going, but it's hard. It's tough. It's tough to get people going over there, and it's even tough for me because I have to learn all the things. So I'm going to round this out. So we ended on we were dealing with they're calling it immigration. They're referring to this as immigration, which is more migration. And according to international law, migration is not actually legal. And there again, I have covered that in other videos, but we're dealing with a populist situation right now. So, everything is out the window in my assertion. The Constitution it seems to be out the window. They to me, in some ways, they've canceled that. They've canceled it. They didn't put it on the list, but they canceled it. I honestly, however, because they use things like, the asylum and the refugee status and that kind of, those are things. And, when we weren't dealing with a populist situation, those things made a difference. But even the asylum status and the refugee status was something that was reserved. Those statuses were reserved for places of conflict. The lower triangle, and all this in South America and not South America, but Central America, that wasn't a part. I don't believe that those regions were Chad, Lebanon, Northern Ireland, Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, some of those places. But what they're doing right now, that's not what that's their definition. They're dealing with their own agenda. It's like this. We're dealing with the UN's rule of law right now, more than a constitution. It's the UN. The rule of law is straight out of the UN. It has nothing to do with the Constitution. It has nothing. When people say the rule of law, they need to know where that comes from. It comes from the UN. When you hear Democrats talk about it, they will quote the rule of law before they quote the Constitution. When they go to court, they'll bring out the Constitution. They'll virtue signal on the Constitution, but they quote the rule of law when they're making case for things. So, that's there you go on that. And so, and then, oh, you don't like children. You hate. No, don't save it. Please. That is not what this is. That is not what this is. I mean, here again, my background is education. I've been a teacher. I've done things, I'm the teacher that if I'm not eating, if the kids aren't eating, I'm not eating. If I have whatever I have, just give it to the kids. Friday nights, we'll just have some cash. We'll just have some cash on hand to whoever. I would always tell the kids, I'd say, look, if you don't have money for the game or whatever, just either come up to me or go to one of the booster club members, and they'll just take care of it. Just don't worry about it. You don't have to tell the other kids. You don't have to humiliate yourself. You don't have to embarrass yourself. You don't have to feel embarrassed about it. You can just let one of them know, and it's done. They're not going to hassle you. They're not going to torture you. We'll take care of the kids. Some kids didn't have money on Friday nights for their games. And forget about the games. Sometimes the kids didn't have they didn't have lunch money during the day. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I had kids hit me up and say, hey, have you got $1? And I'm like, no, I don't. And if I did, sometimes I had it. Sometimes I don't. My gosh, well, I only brought X amount of dollars on campus today. But if I give you the dollars, then I have nothing to do. I can't do anything with mine, which I didn't eat school cafeteria lunch anyway. So I didn't care. But it's just, and then I have something in my office. I say, you guys are hungry? Here, just eat that, or just grab something out of the office, because some of the kids didn't have, they came out of tough places. I had kids that came out of homes that didn't have running water. I had kids that parents cannot read. I had kids that, and you can tell when a parent could not read because there were certain signs. You present them with something to sign, and they say, what's all of this? And I said, I just need you to sign, or just make your mark, whatever you can do, that's fine. And I had kids like that in my classrooms, K through 12. I had that, that was on regular. And these were Democrat run cities. A lot of those were Democrats run cities where I was. And the poverty was huge, huge. And the education was, I mean, people are stunned to hear about people that cannot read. But it's real. It's not anything anybody told me. It's something that I managed. I talked with administrations. Um, but yeah, I mean, and a lot of times, unfortunately, I was dealing with behavioral problems, or I was dealing with a kid that may have had the parent was at fetal alcohol syndrome. Like my kid, he can't sit here. This is my student. He can't sit here at this time and not be active because he didn't have his medication, or he didn't take his medication, or yeah, something like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm a music teacher, so but then I'd give him things to do. um I give him things to do so that he can, like, you can help me, you can help me today, or either just, but then I can't let him help me every day, because then other kids want to help, and then they say, oh, well, you're always, at 5 years old, they notice when you're letting one kid do things all the time. So, and then sometimes you just be out of control, and then I just, yeah, gosh, I have to call this person, but I know it's not his fault, but he's doing the best that he can, but it's disrupting the class. So, it was hard. It was, I had a lot of challenges, a lot of things I dealt with in the classroom, even at the elementary level, that had nothing to do with what I went to school for. Nothing. It had nothing to do with that. But I had to do it, and it was just about getting them through the day. It was just getting them through the day is what it was. I mean, you can't put those kids out of your classroom. No, you can't. But then at the same time, I would notice the difference. And I'm giving an education anecdotal right now. I noticed that a lot of times when they would give the kids, this particular kid, they would give him the medications. He's just absolutely stoned. He would not, he would not have anything for that class. And I mean, and it was just like nobody was home. Like the look in his eyes were, I love to see the kids, I like to see the smile in their eyes and the smile in their face. But when he would get the medication, it was just like he wasn't there. But he sat down. He sat down on his little X, but he was not a part of the class. It's just like the kid, it just ripped something out of him to take that medication. But it was, his parents were, his mother was, had substance abuse problems, and it flowed into, that's his life. I don't even know. Sometimes I think back, my gosh, what happened to the kids? I wonder where are they now? Teachers don't really do that. We do that in our minds, but for kids that in those situations, I have no idea where that child is today. I don't know how he fared in this society with the hand that he was dealt. Now that's what I'm saying. He was dealt the hand because he came from a parent with a substance abuse problem. And it's like, my gosh, I didn't go into psychology or any of these things, but this is, these kids need strategies. They need somebody that can really work with them so they can get the most out of their school day. But I just figured, music is something that, it's universal. Everybody responds to music on some level and early, but I think he was robbed of that experience. And then it's like I'm playing a role in robbing him too, because he needs to be on medication just to stay here. So, this is, and that's a digression there. But yeah, I remember that. Our education system, just as everybody talks about everything else being broken, if you want to talk about something that's broken, you look at that. And you look at the way the government is, the way that they have subsidized, and the way that the families have been destabilized, and the way the subsidies have destabilized, and just what they've breeded in many of these communities is absolutely horrible. It's horrible. So I just, I do. So people, oh, you don't have any kids. You don't like, no, that's not it at all. Like, just because you don't know doesn't mean you know. You don't know. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know. But that's always the people that are talking. The people that talk the most are the ones that don't know it. They don't know what they're talking about. I find that to be true. So I'm just going to go ahead and read a couple of comments in here. See, I've gotten off on a tangent here, on a digression, but I enjoyed, working with kids all the time. Yes, I do. I still enjoy working with kids, but in those situations, in the support you get, these administrators, I didn't find them to be that impressive either. I mean, okay, so let me read a couple of things. I'm just going to get off of that just a second. So, Marcy T, you're most generous. Yeah, well, I didn't mean to, to bring up that, but I'm just, music is to me, there's some pure form. There's some of the most pure forms of music that are out there, and kids that don't really get to enjoy them because they're dealing with so many things. Marcy T is most generous. And Philip J. Turner says, I'd be a problem child in music. I do it without any formal training. Can't read a note of the music I compose. Well, there you go. You've got a special gem there. Because I am, what can I say? I'll say this about myself. I am, even though I'm trained, I have relatives. My pitch is really good, really, really improved over the last few years, relative pitch. But I have friends that, they can hum a note, whatever you want, like in the middle of nowhere. Like, yeah, but it might take me a little bit more time. Yeah, I think sometimes vibrations, I should think more vibrations then. And the more I thought vibrations or, in sound, it got easier for me. But that came from, world-class teachers. I've had lots of teachers, but then, as I got older, the more advanced I got, I had world-class musicians, and a lot of those musicians are actually my friends. So I'm thankful for that. But not to worry whether you can read. It's not, you can read. I'm sure you can read. It would just be repetition at this point for you. And Old Head says, good morning. Thank you, Old Head Deuce. Thank you very much. And Philip J. Turner says, if I had mine charted on staff lines, I'd sell them as a songbook. See, there you go. You can do that for sure. And Marcy T says, my mom was early childhood development and Head Start, all problem children. She said, well, most. And Marcy T says, I was one of the first Head Start children in USA in the 60s. Wow, Marcy T. You should tell us about that sometimes. It's nice to hear. That's historical. And Anarchy says, I do learn more about you every time you rant. And Zero the Infinite says, the arts are supposed to spark creative thinking. And Old Head Deuce says, yes, BSWA, our 1-year anniversary is coming up. No way. No. It is. It really is coming up. And it really is coming up. I've been around here for a little bit. But, I appreciate every single one of you. For those of you that have been here from the beginning, and for those of you that are here now, because we go through transitions around here. Oh, Old Head Deuce says, thanks for putting up with me. Well, you know what? Let me say this. Old Head Deuce, you've got that little, whatever's remaining in my patience. You've got a piece of that on your side. So there you go. And Philip J. Turner says, I don't know how to chart them. What will you charge per song? What would I charge per song? I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not a composer. I'm going to be honest. I'm not. In fact, I don't even like arranging. I don't. It's fun. It's conceptually, it is fun to do, but I don't like to do it. I haven't done an arrangement, and I haven't done arrangement since an arrangement class. But I guess it would just depend on, how much time, you establish your Philip J. Turner, depending on how much time you put into it. When I think about charging for anything, I just think about I think about the time that I put in the materials. So I think about time first, and then I think I kind of go into, overhead or something. But it's usually, I think I usually would probably go with, it would be more on the time, I guess, per song. That's a tough one because you see compositions all over the place and everybody's charging something differently. Um, because for me, if I were to write something, I would have to write a flute part and a piano part. So that would make, to me, the cost is going to go up because I need more. I would need more. I need more paper, definitely, because the piano, I might have 4 pages or 6 pages for the whole composition. But then when you translate that to a piano, it like multiplies times I don't know how many. Um, but yeah, it would just depend. Because you gotta cover yourself. Like maybe you should try it. Maybe you should try, just and you probably have some pieces already that you've written, some songs that you've written already. And yeah, but because I don't compose and I don't sell anything. When I what I do is I teach. I've had private studios, and yeah, and I usually do that. I usually try to figure out what the industry standard is. And in fact, I probably should go up on my rate, is what I should do right about now. Um, yeah, private lessons are expensive, but composition wise, I'm not sure. Um, I don't know. Maybe you should. It also has to be, what's it worth to you. And maybe you could start, like, so for me, when I first started out, even teaching, I taught some. I had a private studio when I was. I didn't have a real official private studio when I was in high school, but then in college I had one. I started to get the pre-college students, and I inherited a studio from one of my instructors. Jiminy Christmas. Okay, sorry, somebody was trying to call in, probably a robocall. But yeah, I can't say, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Yeah, you establish your worth on that. Establish your time. And put all of that in there is what I would say. Consider all of that. But um I've seen compositions that are like really cheap, like so cheap that I couldn't even believe it. But yeah. Okay. Okay, who else is here? All right, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. And Philip J. Turner says a simple piano and bass clef charting. That's still work. That's, to me, it's like decent amount of work. I mean, I don't know. If I were doing a song, I might, I don't know. I don't know what I would do, what I would charge. Yeah, as you would find out you might play around with that, just come up with a price for it. Because I don't have the compositional skills, I don't want to say. And I've never sold anything that I wrote. I had a friend that commissioned me to for a piece that he wrote, but I don't even know what he was going to sell that for. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So Jermaine G says, it's so sad to hear about those children. Yeah, it really is. I was stunned to learn of, the socioeconomic status and the demographics, the way the demographics were affecting the kids in the school. This was at elementary school. And yeah, I was really stunned. But like I said, this was like these are the most innocent kids in the program. Some of them were 4-year-olds, and some of them were 5-year-olds. And yeah, and I don't know, in some cases, I think they would give some of the kids, as they get older, they give them these plans, these learning plans or learning disability. I don't know what they would do for somebody that, like that. And they might not do anything. I was stunned the way that the guidance counselor responded to many of the questions. Like they already know. It's like, okay, you guys are giving standardized tests and you're not doing anything that remotely looks like counseling to me. You want me to do the counseling, but what are you doing? A lot of times they know what's going on at home and then they would just, you know, kind of shrug their shoulders or, well, we're working on that, or the social worker. Like I think a lot of the kids needed social workers. I don't even know. Some of the social workers, I'm not sure. Those are tough jobs too, tough positions. Because you get to see a lot. You go into the homes when you're doing that. So, but yeah, that was tough to deal with. Marcy T says, I go to going rate for then wick to my skills. And Philip J. Turner says, oh, sure, I understand. Get class to do it. 60 songs. Wow, that's quite a few. Are you gonna do those in a book? If you're doing a book, then that would, that makes the value to me go up even more. Philip J. Turner. So I would for that many songs, and you're doing all of it yourself. So I would think it would be that's quite a bit. I mean, I don't think you need a class to do it per se. I just it's very personal, when you're doing your own stuff. So, yeah, and then you might compare it to what you see, what you see in the industry, other songwriters. You might. All right, guys. So let me say hi to everybody and get you guys out of here because I've gone over with my anecdotals and all of these things. But yeah, it's just I don't like the the kid narrative here. Like you guys are manipulating here. These kids, they've got probably a lot of problems, and you're pretending to care, and that's just not. I just think that's ugly to do. I think it's ugly, more than ugly. So just 1 second here. Thank you guys for joining me. Okay, so just FYI, that the Monopoly money in there, or the Monopoly game pieces there came from yesterday's. A lot of people talked about March 17th being a stimuli kind of a day. So yeah, so this was a kind of, I put that on there in honor of St. Patrick's Day, but we're at March 18th today. All right, guys. So let me just say hi and get you guys going. It is 9:01 on the West Coast right now. So I want to say thank you so much for Marcy T coming in, and thank you, Marcy T, for all of your encouragement and your kindness and lending your expertise to us and your opinions on and your perception on so many things. Thank you so much for coming in. Awesome Alice is always awesome. And she always delivers a sting here. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. And who else do we have? Philip J. Turner. Thank you so much. And you always ask the tough questions, Philip J. Turner. Yeah, but just find out, because I might say for 60 songs, that's an expensive book in my mind. For 60 songs, and you did all and you wrote, you did all the parts. That's a lot. I mean, if you're doing it like in a compilation, if you're doing like a whole set, you could do one rounded price, but then for them individually, I might even say if it for something that I would write, maybe I'd say like $3. Maybe I'll start out at like $3 or something, but you're talking to somebody that doesn't really compose. And, but it just maybe start out at $3 is what I might say. I'm going to start at $3. And especially if it's just, for a solo, because I'm a solo, I play a melodic instrument. So I have a one line, but if I was doing if I was writing a piano and flute part, I'd charge much more than that because it's going to take three times the amount of time to do it. And then the cost and all that goes. Marcy T, thank you so much. And we had somebody in earlier that was doing some seedy business, some monkey business on here. So that's why I say stripes, go to work. Just go to work. And I prefer wing. See, here's a ticker for anybody that's new to the channel. Anytime that I say, I usually encourage people that are new to go to the community tab. But if you come over here and you start doing, if you start doing shenanigans or, some lascivious kind of comments and stuff, I just, you got to go. And then, or either the stripes will get you out of here. All right, Zero the Infinite, thank you so much for coming on. And thank you to Kimone Reed Unstoppable, who said that she just went on. She was over on Twitch. Thank you, Kimone Reed Unstoppable, as well as Zero the Infinite. Jermaine G, I really appreciate you for coming in. Thank you. Anarchy Television. I'm catching up. I caught that was a great video out of Florida. So if you guys get over there to Anarchy Television, he took you straight to the press, straight to the press there. Thank you so much for tuning in. And who else do we have? I think this is, we're almost on the end. Yeah, Old Head Deuce thank you, Old Head Deuce, for going over. And yes, there is I don't know, we'll do like a 1 year anniversary, something tribute or something. Maybe that's actually not a bad, that's kind of a fun idea. Old Head said, thanks for putting up with me. So yeah, thank you guys for your patience, because this has been a one crazy year without a doubt. Oh my gosh, Kimmy Forever 88's here. Hi, Kimmy Forever 88. Thank you so much. And Kimmy Forever 88, you are definitely on a roll. So I caught you when you came in. Thank you so much. As she says, she's there watching. Thank you, Kimmy Forever 88. I really appreciate it. So we've got some nice people over on some nice friends over on Twitch. I appreciate it, you guys. You guys are your presence is noted. If it's not noted by the people on Twitch, it's certainly noted by me. But I think Twitch tracks really well. Twitch is really great tracking. Okay, so Philip J. Turner says, I was willing to pay. I know life isn't free. Per song will take time. Oh, wait a minute. Let me make sure I'm clear. Now, are you saying that you are wanting people to write? You want people to write songs for you, or you want to write some songs, or you want to collaborate? I think I want to make sure I didn't get my wires crossed there so much. Yeah, but Philip J. Turner, you're a great storyteller. I think, from what I've heard, maybe I'll come back over and check out some more of your songs. Let us know what you're doing, Philip J. Turner. Let us know. And yeah, that's great. And Marcy T says, I didn't know what, quote, grow, end quote, meant. Still don't. And Anarchy says, my channel's not for everybody, but there might be something for somebody. There you go. Point well taken. And let's see. Yeah, and that's just why I'm saying, even though this is not a growth stream, if there's anything I can do around here to support other content creators, I have no problem with doing that. And like I said, even though it's not a growth stream, but I do check in on you guys to see what you're up to. And Zero the Infinite says, YouTube is really blocking truth heavy now because they had blocked a video of a doctor talking about possible solutions to the pandemic other than the mocktail. Yes, they are. What is it? I think the frontline doctors, that meeting that they had in Atlanta some months ago, I could, I remember that. I remember those were the same doctors that they banned. I think that Stella from Texas was one of those people. And I think they started trying to attack and discredit her amongst, the others. And Philip J. Turner says, someone to chart songs I write. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure about at all. I was thinking purely, as compositional, that kind of a bit, because I don't have any idea. I have programs to do that stuff. I have programs to arrange stuff, but I don't do that anymore. I don't do it. My skills are more than rust right now. And Okay, let's see. And Awesome Al says, I just do a video log with mine, a event tracker, basically. All right. All right, so here you go. Thanks so much, Awesome Alice. I really appreciate it. And Zero the Infinite says they said it was medical misinformation, even though it was a Senate hearing and had that video up for weeks, shaking my head. Yes, they're really, see, this is the thing about that, to your point, Zero the Infinite. This is what I was talking about. I think I'm going to go into this one day. The CEO of YouTube, along with whatever the fact checkers and hack checkers, these things are also they're retroactive. So some things are going to be removed. I believe some things are going to be, you might go back into your own library, your own catalog and realize, my gosh, you just fact checked something I did 2 years ago, or you just fact checked something I did 4 years ago, or however long you've been on YouTube. So they're not discriminating. They're going to go through all of your things. Because, I mentioned MTG on here, if you guys are familiar with MTG, and I just mentioned her name, and all of a sudden they want to provide context. Well, it wasn't your stream. It wasn't your content. And to me, so why do you need to provide context? The people that come into Black Spring, they already know who MTG is, and they already know what your narrative is. So who are you providing it for? Who are you trying to educate? Because my people already know. They already know what the reference is. So I was just saying that this was a reference to CPAC, that she was not invited to CPAC, but I think there was like a meet and greet or something at a bar. And they just decided it was their duty to come on and drop something about the 17th letter of the alphabet. Are we going to cancel the 17th letter of the alphabet? I'm just saying, it's lunacy, but these are the kinds of things that they do. And, YouTube is, state controlled, global governance controlled. And so, yeah, I tell them, do whatever they do. This is a provocative channel. We're not running from any of this. We're talking, and this is what we're talking about. So if you don't like it, do what you do, and we'll do what we do. Okay, so Angela Reed, good morning to you, Angela Reed. Thank you so much for coming in. So, all right, guys, I want to thank you guys one more time. And we're going to do a Twitch honor roll because I've had so many Twitch honorees to pop in today. So we're going to start with a Twitch honor roll and a couple more, and then we're out. Thanks so much, guys. Forever 88. And yeah, so from now on, I don't know if you guys are here from Twitch, you guys can yeah, feel free to tell us about yourselves. I appreciate the support without a doubt. And it's nice to have you guys over there. It looks like I have 2 people over there right now. Very nice. So I think I will say, we'll say that our quota is to get 3 people on Twitch, 3 people on Twitch at a time. So we'll set the goal at 3. So I guess each week we'll start to do a number for Twitch support on the Twitch channel. So let's see, you guys just keep growing with the growing. And Old Head says gas is $4. Thanks, Joe. You mental anorexic. Wow, Old Head. Wow, okay. Awesome Alice says, yeah, they love Joe Crow, and the Shadow Warriors come out to protect their master. It's so funny you guys are saying. See, now I'm gonna, every time I start walking away, you guys just spark something else. So that's what I'm saying. It's like you guys just love to be under the, I mean, what is it? Stockholm. It's worse than Stockholm syndrome at this point. It's like you guys are begging for, yeah, dare I say this? Daddy beats me because he loves me. All right, go ahead, YouTube, and do your magic. Go ahead and strike me on that. You guys love that. You need that. I don't know why. Why does that happen? I don't know. But I digress. Let me go back to the stream here. Zero the Infinite says, I think coming over to this channel put me on a watch list. I ain't never scared. You know what? I think we're this little thing right here. This will be the watch. This little thing right here. Or one of these things right here will put you on a list. That little tube that you're sitting in front of, I think we're all on a list. So not to fear, you're not the only one. But thank you. And let's see, what is it? Awesome Alice says 1 cob of corn is 94 cents just a few months ago for $1. Let's see. 1 cob of corn is 94 cents just a few months ago for $1. Got it. That's a better deal. Like I would do corn, for $4. I mean, grilled corn is fantastic, and I haven't had grilled corn in a long time. But grilled corn in many ways is very good. But yeah, that's a lot. Who could afford that? Let's see. Anarchy Television says, Old Head, just wait for $15 an hour minimum wage and how high everything gets. Oh, Zero the Infinite says he just loves off authority. I can't help it, lol. And Philip G. Turner says, when I was a kid, you could buy 5 pounds of tomatoes for $1. Now 1 tomato is over $1. True story. And Awesome Alice says, all I can say it, watch me work. How they enjoy the show. All right, guys, you guys have the best comments. It's like I said, I think it's a collaborative duty for me to talk about, to get into the chat there a little bit. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on the sunrise surprise, and it's a pleasant surprise to have you guys here. A delight, and I look forward to seeing you guys. I know I was delayed on this one. Sometimes I get delayed. But I look forward to seeing you guys, who knows, on the next live stream, in the comment section on a video, or a test, or even, of course, we have our Real Under series, which the Real Under could come at any time. That's, I guess, even more sporadic than this. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, and have a great rest of your Thursday.